how did the word Lucifer become synonymous with evil? And only because this is what the church is taught. Like everything else espoused by the church, the whole Lucifer doctrine is an outright lie. It has no basis in the Bible. The English word Lucifer appears only one time in your 1611 King James Bible, and that is in Isaiah 14:12. And this is a bogus translation of the word halo, halal. And this word is an adjective, not a noun, and it simply means early light, bright shining. And it is not the name of any entity. The word Lucifer is of Latin origin, and it is not from the original languages of the Bible. And what that cat just said was a meow. It's more accurate than the word Lucifer. So let's continue about where did this word come from? It came from the Universal Catholic Church, and it first appeared in the Latin text. Now Jerome is given the credit for he first used it in about 400 AD. Here's the shocker though, folks. Most people, when they say the word Lucifer, they think that it's the name of the devil, and it has to do with this rebellious archangel. Nothing could be further from the truth. And you see, in the ancient text, there is no word that's even remotely close to the word Lucifer in meaning. A mythology was turned into a theology, and this is nothing other than the tradition of men built upon the doctrine of devils. So, how did such a reversal of roles come into existence? Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Now, who else is called the morning star in the Bible? That's right, Jesus Christ. So you see how this one word injected into the Bible was used to mock. Now, who did this? The Babylonians brought this word to the Universal Church Catholicism. The Protestants copied it. It says, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations. Now, the O in this verse was just stuck in there by the translators. The truth is that this word pertains to a man, okay, and not some perfect archangel with all these heavenly powers. In order to understand what's being actually said here, we have to read Isaiah 14:1 through 24, and you can't build and create a whole theology by ripping one verse out of context. But this is what the churches do. It is a proverb taken up against the king of Babylon, okay? It's against the king of Babylon. And this is whom the Almighty Father is speaking to, the king of Babylon. The Lucifer in verse 12 is an adjective which pertains to this king of Babylon, and it will be Babylon that the Almighty Father will rise up against, as stated in verse 22. Now, if you need to, you can go back and reread these verses so you can understand it for yourself. It's merely a descriptive term of the king of Babylon. Okay, now if this prophecy against Babylon is not clear enough for you in Isaiah, go to Jeremiah chapter 51, verses 53 through 56. Go to Daniel chapter 4, 28 through 37, and this will show you how the Almighty Father cast down the arrogant king of Babylon by turning him into a beast who is driven out to live in the fields. The question now arises, if Lucifer is a fabrication, then where did it come from? Well, it's quite simple, and if you haven't seen my video, did God create the devil war myth, you should watch it. What it has to do with is that control. You see, by injecting this word into the Bible, they take power away from your father and they give it to this created being called Lucifer, who was absolutely fictitious. You get it? In Isaiah 45:7, it says, this is the words of your Father, because there's only one Father and there's only one with all the power. Isaiah 45:7 says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, whom is Yahuwah or Yahweh, do all these things. There is nothing here about the Almighty Father passively allowing some other evil entity to share his throne with him. This is horseshit, and it offends me to no end. And I'm going to tell you something. Of all the reasons that I'm censored, yes, I've spoke out against the people called Jews, and I've spoke out against this and that, but you know, one of the reasons why I'm censored is because I give the power back to my Father, and it takes it away from the church. Because if you look at why I lost the last channel, folks, I wasn't criticizing Jews. I was criticizing the church. And this is how they took the channel away. The church has become the most evil entity on this earth. They're nothing but a mouthpiece for ancient Babylon. That's all they are. So, your Almighty Father is in total control. He's not a go-alonger. He's not a lover of all things. He is the everything. Everything goes through him. He is the everything. Your Father created evil. He created the devil. He created him for us so we can have an adversary. This is the truth. And if you can't handle that, I'm sorry if you can't handle it. You need to go to a church then, because they will teach you a lie. They will teach you something that he doesn't have the power. You have a certain amount of free will. And this is the lie of the church, because they have reduced the Father to this poor, pathetic creator who's still trying to get it together, and that we're all going to run back to heaven, and we're going to question, would you want to go back to heaven? Would you want to go live with your Father if you knew he can't handle his own house? You see, this is what the church has done. They have reduced your Father to nothing. When you start praying to your Father and you hold the devil and you give the devil a certain amount of power, all you're doing is making your Father angry. He's not going to hear your prayers. Your Father has all the power, everything, man. He can do anything for you. There is no other power. Do you understand? There is no other power. In Revelation 12:9, it says that that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now the devil was called Satan, and he was called the serpent and the great dragon, but he was never called Lucifer. Don't you find that odd? That in the last book of the Bible, Jesus Christ, given his revelation to John, he was never called Lucifer, if that was his name. You see how the church has created lie after lie after lie after lie. Let me show you something else here. In John 8:44, Jesus Christ, he says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Now notice in verse 44 here, it says that Jesus Christ tells these people that the devil was a murderer from when? From the beginning. He didn't become bad. He was created bad. He was a murderer from the beginning. He was a liar from the beginning. Don't you get it? Your Father created him evil. He didn't become evil. The great dragon is not out of your Father's control, but was created for your Father's purpose and for our benefit, and he's not in rebellion against the Father. Now, if you can't really comprehend this, open up the book of Job and go to chapter 1 and 2, and you will see how Satan, this serpent, this devil, is in complete subjection to the Almighty Father. He's hardly a rebel. When the Father asks him a question, he damn well better answer. When the Father tells him, but you can't put your hands on Job, he cannot do it. So he's not just running wild, out of control. But this is what the church has taught. This is what they have taught, because the truth is the church really hates our Father, and they want to take as much power away from him as they possibly can. This is the truth. This is the real truth. Now, what you have here, folks, on this earth is simple. You have two families. You have the children of the Almighty Father who have came to this earth to fulfill and serve to fulfill our Father's will and to serve him. And you have the adversary that was created for us, and this is the family of the devil, the serpent. Now, they have many names: the Canaanites, the Edomites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and they have some names today too. So what you have, folks, is modern Christianity is the bastion for the lying doctrines of Satan. So last time, here's a news flash for all you liars. My Father created evil, and he created the devil just the way he is. Now, I know this is not what you've been taught, but this is the truth. And your Father is perfect. If your Father would not be perfect, if he created something and it got out of control from him, would he be perfect? Would you want to pray to him knowing he may not hear my prayers? How do I know what's even going on? You see how they have taken the power away from him. Why was this done? Because the church had to take the power away from the Father, and they had to give it to themselves. This is why Babylon, this is why the Catholic Church, and now the Protestant Church, The Father doesn't have the power in their eyes, and to the people, the church has the power. Don't you get it? And your Father allowed it to happen because, I'm going to say it, most of the people in church are not your family. They're just not your family. Satan did not rebel. He is exactly the way the Father created him from the very beginning. Christianity, folks, is the beast of Revelation 13:11. It says this, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Now, what has two lambish horns of Christianity? So what has the two horns of Christianity, folks? Catholicism and Protestants. These two entities that go hand in hand. You see, they speak as a dragon. They may appear to be a lamb, but they speak as a dragon. Talking about they speak for the devil. They speak for Satan. Now, what other group would approach Jesus Christ, folks, and say to him, "Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have we not cast out devils?" Catholics and Protestants, they're the only ones, because they claim to love and serve Jesus Christ. Don't you get it? And what does Jesus Christ say to them? He tells them to depart from me. I don't know you. I never knew ye, ye workers of iniquity. Matthew 7:22 through 23. You see, there is nothing, anything, folks, that there is nothing on this earth that your Father is not in control of. And you will not find this taught in church. You see, the church has to have that power taken away from the Father, so they will have the people in church worship them and the six-pointed star. It had to be taken away from the Father, and the Father allowed it. This is why he says to those in Mystery Babylon, "Come out of her, my people, lest ye partake of her sins." And the Father will pull many of his children out of the whore of Babylon. Not Mystery Babylon, but the whores of Babylon, which are the churches. There's a big difference between Mystery Babylon and the whore of Babylon. Well, I just want to close this, folks, just by saying this. There is no evolution going on with your Almighty Father. Good doesn't become evil, nor does evil become good, and wheat don't become tares, and tares don't become wheat. Tares don't change themselves into wheat by deciding to be wheat. Read Romans chapter 8. It's called predestination. Now, people don't like hearing about it. Nothing can change what the Father has made and the way he has made it. The whole creation in earth and in heaven is his, baby. It's all his. It all belongs to him. It's all his. We are his. That doesn't mean that we won't be tried. It doesn't mean that we won't go through our own temptations. It doesn't mean that we won't go through the fire, because we are being refined to be exactly as he wants us. Your Father is the author and the finisher of all things. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. May the Almighty Father bless you all in the name of his precious Son.